Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome everybody to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast show, where truth gets revealed, a real deep truth. Okay, or the best as we can anyway. We know we're all got the deluded mind. What's going on here? We're in the physical, but yet, we're here to illuminate as much truth as we possibly can, get down to the nth degree of it. Of course, always with a loving heart, knowing that we're all just trying to find our way deeper in the light and our deeper power and radiance. And I have an amazing guest today, Camille Miller, and she, oh my God, I met with her recently, and what she's got set up for soulpreneurs and soul professionals, all that is amazing. What she's providing people in the world, community support, all these things. I'll let her explain it as we go into the interview, and then she's got incredible wisdom to share with you. She's one of the smarter business people I've ever met. When I heard her business model, I'm like, that is such a brilliant business model. I love your business model. Like, I don't usually say that to people. Usually I'm like, oh, that's a nice business model. So I really can't wait for you just to hear, her wisdom that she's got to share with you to really rock it as a soul professionalpreneur and all that good stuff, and really start understanding the shifts that are wanting to happen in entrepreneurship as well. So it's good to have you here, Camille.
Thank you. Thank you for having me in that wonderful introduction.
Yeah, it's I just can't wait to dive in here. So let's go ahead and talk more about you. So Camille is the founder and chief visionary of the Natural Life Business Partnership, a global professional organization and business incubator for soul-aligned entrepreneurs who are ready to awaken their financial and spiritual potential. Perfect, right? She is the host of the weekly podcast, Six Figure Souls, Doing Good and Making Money, which highlights soul-aligned business owners who crush the six-figure ceiling and still feel in alignment with the universe and their purpose. She recently released her debut book, The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Soul-Aligned Business, which hit Amazon bestseller status in 6 categories, including starting a business, and ranked number 3 behind Joe Dispenza and Bren Brown, if that's how you pronounce that. Sure, okay. But into personal transformation, spirituality. She is currently working on her second book, which will be released next summer, and that is called The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Six-Figure Soul Professional. She's a pioneer for soul professional movement. Camille is a thought leader who consistently delivers powerful, engaging talks about the role of soul. She is on a quest this year to move entrepreneurs to awaken their financial and spiritual potential, of course, and to operate from a place of authenticity in both business and life to achieve purpose beyond profit. All right, so
that's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, right?
Yes,
sometimes it's a guest listens, she's like, wow, there's a lot in there. So yeah, congrats on everything you've been up to and all the success and the successes you're creating for people. It's soulpreneurs and all that sort of thing. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what in the world motivated you to create this whole thing, this Natural Life Business Partnership? How did this all come about, all this work?
Yeah, so my background actually is in not-for-profit management. So my job before this, I was CEO for the state of New Jersey for the Northeast Organic Farming Association, and I later became president of the Northeast, but it put me in Washington working on our food and health system, and especially the organic label. But it was in that role that I met what I now call soul professionals, people that have truly aligned their professional selves and their spiritual selves. So they are reaching both their financial and their spiritual potential. And in that role, I got to bring my whole self to work. And it was the first time I realized that I was different professionally than I was personally. like, it's like I shed that professional persona at the door when I walked in, and I was someone else home with my family. But that job was defunded in 2015. And when I was kind of looking for what was next for me in life, I realized that I was really no longer motivated just financially. Like, I got a lot of offers, but I realized that they didn't make my heart sing. Like, I didn't want to advocate for things that I didn't believe in. So in looking for my professional community, I went to, you know, your BNIs, your networking groups, your Chamber of Commerce's, the typical ones we all do, and they didn't feel in alignment with me. They felt very in the ego and people wanting to make sales all the time and no one really getting to know who you were as a person. But when I went to the holistic groups, I felt like they were way too woo-woo and not really based in business or professionalism. It was totally opposites. So I started my own little coffee club of people like me. And I live in New Jersey, and it quickly moved from New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, all up the East Coast. And it was at the end of 2017 when I got a call from California and someone said, "Hey, I can't wait for you to get out here. I've been watching your work." And I knew in that moment that I did not have a sustainable model. So in the beginning of 2018, I had heard of this thing called Zoom. And we've launched as the world's first professional organization that was all virtual, and we ran internationally on Zoom. We went coast to coast that year. We went international in 2019, 2020, we went to a high-end model. And during the global pandemic, we didn't have to pivot. We already had everything working for us. We really just got stronger and better. But still, I didn't have much of a brand because I had made my own website and it was just me, you know, with this dream of, hey, let's go do this stuff. So it has really developed now into this global professional organization, which is pretty cool. But it was really a need that I needed. And then I realized, oh my gosh, there's all these people in the world just like me. And I really do believe that there's a shift that's happened in the world. It was happening when I started, but now we've noticed through the pandemic that there is absolutely a shift happening in the world. We used to attract people between like 45 and 65, and now we're attracting people at like 25. Like they're not even going into the corporate world. They're like, nope, I'm working on my terms. So there's absolutely a shift happening. We see that people aren't going back to their jobs and they want it more aligned with their lifestyle. So that's why I'm here. I call myself an alternative business engineer, and it's really to take whatever skills you have in life and let's see how we can build a business from it.
Yeah, that's great. So, wow. Yeah, I really could relate to what you're saying with the BNIs and the Chamber of Commerce meetings and all that. Been there, done that. And then the idea of, I don't know, I haven't been to the holistic ones. They never seem to be close by me where I live. So
Yeah.
I never really got involved with that. But I had been to networking meetings where it's like spiritual practitioners and all that. And you're right, it's such like one's very transactional, the other one's just very spiritual, but nothing gets done in business wise. So
Yeah,
it was my experience
exactly.
with that. And
Yeah.
so I tried to remedy it myself too. In my local area, I created my own group, a spiritual entrepreneur group, and it was pretty nice. You know, I mean, I wouldn't say it was tremendous with referrals, but it was the attempt at least was a blend of the two. And so yeah, there was definitely a real need for it at the time. And yeah, and so I'm glad that you created something that sounds like it's very, very effective for people in that regard. And then you have what you have today, of course. So what is this business all about? I mean, for me, like, it really speaks to me in that again, there's some people are just really like, I'm all about the work and about just doing the spiritual work and personal development. I want to help other people in that way. And yeah, I totally want to make a lot of good money and all that, but that doesn't matter. And that's not the big thing. And, and you got people like, sometimes you get into this work and yeah, they're spiritual. They're like, I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm making millions. But they're lagging behind on the soul potential part, right? So I see that a lot. So yeah, wow, what a sweet spot. So tell us more about the type of people that come to you. I mean, you talked about the 25-year-olds. That's so exciting. And what problems do people have that are drawn into your organization?
Yeah. So more now than ever before,
Mhm.
it's really people that want to align who they are with what they do. Right. So we attract, in the very, very beginning, we attracted a lot of doctors that were in this medical model that they really didn't sign up for. That's not why they went to medical school, right? They went to medical school to be healers, to help people. And now they're trapped in this medical model of going down certain roads that they don't really feel comfortable with. So we were attracting a lot of doctors in the beginning. We still attract them today, but now it's CPAs, it's attorneys, it's architectures, it's website designers, it's, people building e-commerce stores, large people, but it doesn't really matter because it's really about who you are. So they're looking for something beyond just the profit in their business. Profit's important, and that's one of the things we've pivoted to say, it's important that you build wealth, but I really believe that unless you build wealth, you cannot impact the world. You just,
Right.
you don't have the strength to impact the world. But if a lot of small businesses come together, we can do a lot to impact the world. We can change the way things are done in the world. And that's really become the crux of it. So people usually find us by mistake, or they heard about us because they're hiding that piece of themselves in their everyday work. But there's something that said, you know what? This just doesn't fit me anymore. How can I do it differently? And that's where they start to find us. They start to just go, okay, well, over here, there's people like me that'll support me, listen to my dreams. If you want to live in Italy 3 months out of the year, you can do that, right? A lot of people create these businesses and they say, well, in 5 years or 10 years, or when I retire, this is what I want to do. And my attitude is, why aren't you doing it now? Because you can. Like, it's a false belief to say that you have to wait. So start those steps now. And it's just really, how do you build that business? But we are so much more than a networking group. And I think that's important. We're really a business incubator, right? You get mentorship. You learn how to build a business differently. We say a soul professional lives in a higher vibration, has an alternative approach to business, and is here to help repair the world. So those 3 things is what really is our common core values and what brings us together. And as long as you have that, then we can start to talk about, how do you want to impact the world? What would you like to see? And like you said, a lot of healers out there, or spiritual people that are in service, don't charge enough, don't know how to run a business because they're doing it from their passion. But I'm here to say, you actually have to structure a business too. It takes both, right? You have to have the business skills as well as the mindset. And we do both. We talk about money blocks. We talk about mindset. We talk about business by your design. But we also teach you how to read a profit and loss statement. Last month, we taught 1099s and international tax law. So as far as I know, we're the only organization that's really blending all of it, because I say it's the inner work that creates your outer success. So you have to start with the inner work, your blocks, your subconscious beliefs, what's sticking you to where you are.
Right. There may be coaches that sort of do what you're doing in a way, right? Yeah, we're about developing all this stuff, but how many of them get down to the brass tacks business sort of stuff, like profit and loss statements? Who cares about that? Let's just focus on revenue, baby, right? So that's where most people are. Like, you're always talking about how much they made. Yeah, you got people making millions that end up like bankrupt. I mean, that happens in the industry. So, but that's not what you're going to hear in the headline. No, I was making millions. That's what I was. I was a millionaire entrepreneur that was bankrupt. You're not going to hear about that part of the story that often. Usually they use that as their comeback story. Okay, I did go bankrupt, but now I'm back, and here's what I learned from that. So, So reinventing yourself, it's all good. It happens. Well, yeah, I like that you have there's such a wide breadth of different ways that you're helping people.
Yeah. And I want to say it's not just me. Like I'm the
Right,
creator, but
right,
inside it's not a business community around me. It's not a
right,
coaching community around me.
right.
The goal is this is the legacy I'm leaving in the world so that
Mhm,
I can set it all up and leave.
mhm,
That's because I believe this professional organization is needed to
mhm,
bring credibility to all the spiritual entrepreneurs that are out there, right? Because I really, really, truly believe that when we start to acknowledge all the people, that are purpose-driven business owners, when we start to acknowledge them, that's when they start to come back and build meaningful, robust businesses that give back to the world, right?
mhm.
That's how you repair the world. But I don't know if we say make fun, like if we don't acknowledge all the gifts that they're bringing to the world, then why would they continue to do it, right? So this professional organization is really to bring credibility and respect to these professionals, really as a new way of doing business, right? When I went to business school, we studied Disney, we studied McDonald's. Today, they probably study Microsoft and Google, but they didn't talk about, does it feel good to me? Is this really what I want to do? Is it really important for me to have balance in my life or see my kids every day or all of these other things that are so important that I don't think is really talked about in business. But here in our organization, and I think anyone should, we have great coaches, but you're not paying coaches. You have mindset coaches, you have CPAs, you have lawyers, you have masterminds and accountability partners. It's all part of membership that are there. So it's not just me. And it's a very, very affordable way to get, 8 to 10 coaches a month that are looking at your work and your business. Now you have to show up. That's what I tell people. Just joining is not getting you anything. You got to show up. And it's really, I say it's like a big business hug. It's everyone helping everyone else. So we have what's called an inner circle. It's for our visionary CEOs that are making over $250 a year of more than 2 employees and really want to get to that 7-figure mark. We do not have a 7-figure club yet because we don't have mentors. We don't have people that have created their own spiritual brands and are doing it yet, right? So, but those people, as they get successful, are the ones teaching the people below them. So we call them micro communities, and they mentor others.
Right.
And I think that's the beauty. You come in and you have all of this help and support. It's like a small business association, but I want our organization to be up there with the American Medical Association, the Bar Association, or any association that holds its professionals to a higher level. I want the credibility. I'd love for all of us to have badges. I want someone to say, hey, I'm a soul professional, and someone halfway across the world to say, yeah, me too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what I'm hearing is that, one of the things I just feeling for you, and you talked about your background too, you've been a fighter for different causes, right? You're like, this is important. Get those labels, those organic labels going, or what, I don't know what that was, but whatever it's been, you're like the sense of justice is what I'm getting the vibe on. And so, yeah, just getting acknowledgement. I know when I was doing working just with healers, just the healer tribe is all about a similar sort of focus, and that I was like, healers need to be taken seriously, and then healers need to take themselves seriously, so they get taken seriously, right? And what I'm hearing here, it's similar in a way, like, okay, we need to rise up in our strength and band together and have a actual real organization like other businesses do, and type of businesses, and that's how we're gonna have more influence and impact in the world.
Absolutely.
Collectively as well, is what I'm hearing,
Yep.
right?
It's collective influence. That's exactly what it is. And you need to have a community to do that.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's what I mean. I told you she's brilliant, so I understand, like, I'm glad you fleshed that out, because it's a little while since we talked, and I didn't remember every detail of how this is set up, but
Yep.
yeah, I mean, that's exciting for people. Like, wow, it's this community, and you get all this incredible support from people who are already, like normally you have to pay thousands of dollars, many thousands of dollars to get access to this information. And instead, there's this membership that's affordable. It's not a crazy town, like I gotta put 20 grand down just to get any of this sort of support. At least I'm guessing it's that. So, and then, if they want more, there's always more levels and all that sort of thing. So that's so awesome. And so what is it that, what do you think is the biggest challenge that people have? And they're like, okay, I have this big dream. Everybody says I'm crazy. You can't do that. You can't take those summers off. Or they just want to do things differently. Everybody says niche, 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 niche. You got to always niche to the nth degree. But maybe they have like 10 different passions and they want to aggressively go after 2 or 3 right now, but everybody's saying you're going to get too scattered. Or like there's people who have passionate spiritual people have all these different ideas how they want to, or I want to be a digital nomad. I want, but there's always this sound out there of people who have been indoctrinated into the old ways that say, can't do it. Their parents or grandparents, maybe even, or whatever. You can't do that. That's crazy. That's not smart. I've definitely got a lot of that. No matter how well I've done in my business, there's always been people in the family are like, so when are you getting a job?
I still get it as well. And and every time I'm out and someone who doesn't know me asks what I do, I kind of say briefly, like, I run this organization. People are like, seriously, you make money doing that? Like, but the best advice I can give is don't take advice from people who aren't who you want to be. Right. Do not hang around in groups of people that do not support every area of your life, because they will bring you down with them. People like to be comfortable with other people that are not successful. It's a comfort thing. People like that, and they're going to pull you down. And that's all along the way. You're going to shed people. That's all of us in life. That's how we grow in every area of our life. But in business, you always need to be aligning yourself with people that are above you, because where are your mentors? How are you going to learn? Who are you asking these questions to? The hard part of this is there's not a heck of a lot of people that are doing well. We're trying to corral them so they're in our community, and that's why I have my podcast. So I interview them so people can hear stories of people that are really doing this. But one of the things you said is it's not just spiritual people that have ideas all over the place. They're called creatives. And most spiritual people are also creatives. We're also introverts, right? So, and we're very logical and we're very spiritual. We have those two things about us. But that has our creative mind going all the time. And sometimes it's really hard to stay focused. And I am one of them. But you can use that to your advantage, and it's okay to have more than one business line or to dovetail them. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love to do is hear people, what do you love to do? Let's see how we can create this. And that's why I call myself an alternative business engineer, because I can sit down with someone and really look at a strategy that might work. Let's bring this and this together, because so many people in their head, it's a limiting belief, go, well, I can't do it that way. I'm always like, well, who told you that? Just because no one's ever done it doesn't mean you can't do it. Right. So it's really gelling and bringing those creativities together and as best as possible, and it's okay to have a lot of loves in the world. I always say, don't go too wide though. Like it's okay to pull those services together depending on what they are.
Totally.
You can do it.
Totally. I mean, I have found like no matter what business model I've had that's worked well for me, there's always somebody that says, I don't agree with your business model. I don't think that's a good idea. I think, and here's what I think is wrong with it, right? No matter what business model, there'll always be somebody that says it's whatever you do in life. They'll say that's wrong. Anything. anything really. You like that TV show? No, you shouldn't like that TV show. You got that business model. I don't like that business model. I think you could do better by doing this. Everybody's got their own opinion, right?
Yeah,
And it's just
but that's all it is.
yeah, you have to
It's just
follow,
someone's opinion.
right? You have to follow your own passion and your own truth is my take on it
Yes.
because and you've got to be open to listening to input from people that are worth listening to, right? I mean, some people just aren't really worth listening to that much. I mean, I want to listen to everybody because everybody's got something. Because if they're telling you something, it's like just the opposite. Sometimes it helps you double down, right? Oh, now I believe it in it even more. That's how I look at it.
It's possible, but people double down when they're wrong more than doubling down when they're right. People double down when they're wrong because they don't want to prove themselves wrong.
True.
So that is a huge business mistake. It's a personal life mistake too. People always double down when they think they're wrong. Subconsciously feel like they're wrong. But I forgot the train of thought that I was going to say. But you can learn from so many people, and I think mentorship is important, right? So as I build, of course, people all my life told me I do things wrong, right? But I do things differently. That's my passion. That's who I am. So if you tell me, hey, you're wrong or you can't do it, I kind of had the attitude like, let me show you how it is done. Right. But I also listen to the Napoleon Hills and the I don't know who else, right? But I read all of these books all of the time. I'm listening to the great leaders of the world. Everyone did it a little differently, but that's what made them great. They did something differently. They went against status quo and changed the way things were done. And now we're learning from them. So as a business owner, or even in life, right? You have to get advice from everyone you think you need it from, and then choose your own path. You know, as I created NLBP, I looked at the BNIs, I looked at the Chamber of Commerce's, I looked at the holistic groups, and I said, what do I love about each of these? And how can I create that here? So we're a little bit of everything. We're also like an executive coaching club. We're a professional organization. I wanted people to have credibility, you know, so we do the networking, we do the masterclasses, we do I just took the pieces that I needed to make it better. So there's nothing like what we've created, and there's a reason for that. So like every single one of us creates a business that's different from someone else. We're the differentiator, right? We're the one that's different. It's like all the doctors that graduate medical school, they all come out with the exact same degree. They're all called MDs. But when you need a doctor, you go interview a few of them. You know, you get into alignment with who feels good to you, but they're all the same. Who the differentiator is that person, right? So we're all of our own differentiators as well.
Right. Yeah, there needs to be credibility from people that are spiritual entrepreneurs, soulpreneurs, whatever, you know, soul professionals, because you've got all these organizations in the world saying, well, according to the AMA, according to, you know, but what if we had according to the soul professional organization, or, you know, or whatever it is, whatever the organization may be along the lines of what you're doing, or the natural life partnership, you know, business partnership, or whatever the organization may be. My point is, like, what if there's enough credibility from that organization, or it becomes even more credible? And like, well, they're saying it, then now we tend to believe it, right?
Right. And that's why we need us to come together. Yes, and I always say, when there's enough haters, that's how you know that you're really making a difference in the world. Right. When people go out of their way to say that we're wrong and we build the force against us, that means we're blazing a new way. Right. That's the good thing.
Right. It's like you're a threat. Yeah.
Changing. Yeah. We're changing it. Like, I want to be a disruptor. That's the whole point of us existing, is to disrupt the status quo, be non-conforming. That's who we are.
Right. Yeah. I love that. So when you say, I've got a million questions. So one of my questions was how spiritual is this whole thing? Like, you know, there's like kitchen soup with for the soul, kind of soulful spiritual stuff, and then there's like deep woo, right? So people are listening in, they could be having all kind of concepts in their heads right now. Well, I don't know, they don't sound spiritual enough. Whoa, I don't know. I doubt they're thinking it's not the other way, but how deep woo are some of the people in this thing? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just curious about that.
We get that question a lot. And it's all different levels, right?
Mhm.
I have a deep, deep spiritual curiosity, but I have not mastered anything, right? But I'm really curious. But we have other people in the group that are deeply, deeply spiritual, and I find them to be brilliant and enlightening.
Mhm.
You know, so they run micro communities. We have one called Soul Curiosity, and I go to it as a student because
Mhm.
that is not my strength. So I
Mhm.
go as a student, someone else teaches it. And we
Mhm.
talk about the metaphysical world, the 5D reality, you know, how to talk to your guides. I don't know any of that, but I would love to do all of it, right? So we have mentors. I am not the strongest in that. So, you know, so we have all sorts, and you're respected at any level. We've never had bashing of anybody, but I think the part of soul alignment is coming from a place of abundance, right?
Mhm.
Not the woe is me, not the victim, not the scarcity mode. You know, it's understanding that your thoughts become things. You know, it's the understanding that there's enough for all of us in this world to share. You know, you have to come from a place that's collaborative, that's
Mhm.
kindness, that's generosity, that's supportive. That's what we're looking for. If you're just looking to make money or a fast sale, we are not your people. We're
Mhm.
not your people. We
Mhm.
spend time getting to know each other and everything about each other. Like we have networking groups that we're pulling soul cards and saying, what does this word mean for you? And we break into groups and we talk about it. That's how we network.
Right.
You know, and the people making $1 million are talking about the same thing as the people making 20,000 a year because
Mhm.
we're doing it differently,
Mhm.
right? So we have other groups of different ways to do things, right, for their business. But when we say soul aligned, we really mean a place of abundance. You're coming from it with a purpose, with a mission. You're understanding that everyone is here because we want to impact the world with our own gifts.
Right. Right. Cool. So for people that have they're spiritual or spiritually oriented or becoming more deeply spiritual oriented, because I'm sure there's all different levels to who's listening. Let's say again, they're like, that's it. I want to do my thing and do my deeper work in the world or whatever it may be. Uh, what are the first things they need to address? Like they need to get, like, they need to know what the heck they really want to do, right? I mean, that's part of it. But how do they take an idea or a passion and turn it into a business? Because I have a feeling like there's some people listening in that need to know about that.
Yeah. So first they kind of have to figure out what they want,
Mm-hmm.
right? To start doing I always say take a pen and piece of paper, because when you write with a pen, you actually think differently than when you
Mm-hmm.
type. And literally write out what that dream would look like for you without your mind saying, no, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Without the stopping, right? But to really write out, where do you want to be in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? You know, do you want to work weekends? Do you want to work nights? Do you want to work on a beach? You know,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to travel? Do you want to be a nomad? Do you like whatever that looks like? But to really know what you want this to look like, your lifestyle as much as the business. Who do you want to help? What do you think your gifts are? What are you really good at? What do you hate to do? Right? I love building businesses, love strategy, love getting into the nitty gritty. Tell me what you like. I love the structure, the business. And that's what I help people with in the group.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't stand running businesses,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So I created a job that I get to help everyone strategize. I get to help them think through it. I run the group's mastermind every other week, where we talk about successes, we talk about our frustrations, and I help them strategize through it because that's what I like to do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I like a group setting. I like the idea. I really don't do a lot of one-on-one work. I do some one-on-one work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely not my focus. So I created a position that I love. And that's what people have to start with. What does it look like?
Mhm.
Like what, and it's really important to know what you don't like too, right?
Right.
Write the stuff that you don't want to go back to. Like I came out of the not-for-profit world, so I didn't want a board, right? I have an advisory committee that gives me advice I ask questions to, but they don't have voting rights against me, right? So I created a structure where I'm always in charge of me and my company.
Mhm.
But I love the advice and the knowledge of people. So I work well in community. So that's what I created, right? So know what you don't want to do as well. I don't love meeting people one-on-one. Well, I should say I like meeting people one-on-one, but I like doing it on my own schedule. So if I had clients, 10 clients a day, every day, I would hate that.
Mhm.
Right. I don't like that structure. I like to have flexibility so I can do it from anywhere in the world. I like things to be virtual. So those are things that are in my business plan. What's important to me, right? I don't do a lot of social media,
That's great.
so you need to first start with what you like, what you don't like.
Mhm.
Then usually I sit down and kind of go through like, okay, how do we create a business out of this?
Mhm. Yeah, the hell yes, hell no lists.
Yep. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, yeah. One of the exercises that can be very helpful along the lines of what you talked about earlier is when you come up with your dream and you're like, okay, yeah, that's the 2, 3, or 4, 5, 10-year plan or whatever. To think like, wait a minute, what if that was my plan this year, right? Like, okay, what
Exactly.
if this year? Like, because when you do that and you really sink into it, and then I don't know how you do it, but I would be like, okay, literally, if you could do this, you could do it, it's possible, you could do it. Now, are you going to do it? And then if I'm like, maybe not this year, but then it can move you forward faster because you're like, okay, if I'm not going to do that, then what am I willing to get done this year? Like, and then
Exactly.
it accelerates you, is what I've found. Is that similar to how you do it, or how do you work with people with that?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to put together your dream and then break down your dream. I have so many people that come to me that'd be like, I just want to make $100,000. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, what are you selling? What are we selling it for? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And giving them the numbers of what they actually would have to do to make that happen is sometimes scary for them. Right. It's because you have to move backwards. How many people do you have to talk to? What is your close rate? And working backwards, and they might find out they hit, to hit those numbers, you have to talk to 250 people a month. Are you able
Mm-hmm.
to do that? Is that what you want to do? Because in the beginning, you're not closing a lot of people either. So backing out of what's realistic, so you're actually hitting goals. I think the hardest part of being an entrepreneur is it's nonlinear. You go 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and I'm still doing that, like, constantly, and recalibrating and tweaking, and you don't want to give yourself a job. And entrepreneurship is really about creating a lifestyle you like, or a company you like, or something that's, for me, reoccurring for the rest of my life. Once I build this and put in the time, what's it look like in 5 or 10 years? And this year, I've actually really dedicated myself to, getting on stages and podcasts and really talking about it, because now we're in that growth stage, right? And I have to be the face of the company. And 2 years ago, I didn't want to, and I stepped out of that role, and it showed, right? And I'm like, okay, I got to go back into that. But what can I shed from my plate that now I have a full staff, that didn't feel in alignment, I don't want to do anymore. So I don't do social media. I don't write blogs. I don't do any of that stuff anymore. That was taking all my time. I just stay in the face of the company. I run the masterminds. I'm helping people strategize. I'm showing people their worth, because that's what's important to me. And that's really my highest value. So as you're building a company, it's staying in your highest value. And a lot of people have trouble with that, especially in the beginning, because they're really not making money. It's really, it's the road to entrepreneurship is hard. I'm not going to lie. It's hard. There's lots of ups and downs. And that's why it's really important to surround yourself with other entrepreneurs and not family members that keep telling you to go get a job.
Right. I think it challenges you, because I was just thinking about this today. It challenges you in ways obviously you're not going to run into at a job, really. I mean, it's different, but I would push back a little bit that I was pushing back on myself today because I'm like, oh, it's so challenging. Even when you're doing well in business, it's still, the challenges are gone once the money starts rolling in. No, you might feel even more challenged now.
Yes, you got bigger problems, right?
Right,
My payroll is so big every month. I'm like, oh my goodness, I have
right,
a lot of
right.
people that need to be paid, right?
A sense of responsibility, if I
Right,
got to keep it going and growing and everything
exactly.
to get to the next level. And so it's different. Then again, I would push back that we often say, oh, it's way more challenging. And in some ways it is, but then again, isn't it challenging to go to the same stressful job every day and like you hate it? I mean, that's very challenging too. So I think it's just challenging in another way that does kick your butt in a whole different way and a whole
Yeah.
nother level, personal growth and development and all that. But it's pretty challenging to keep just doing the same damn thing, being bored or burnout or whatever, frustrated all the time. So that's why I'm pushing back on it, because I think that's what keeps people stuck too. Well, I don't know, it sounds hard. Well, isn't it really hard where you are right now? I mean, what do you got to lose?
Yeah.
Like that's my point. Yeah.
Yeah. There's this balance of, and I had to deal with it myself, like really loving the freedom of entrepreneurship, right? And being able to travel or do what I want during the day. But there's a real discipline to working enough to build your business and doing the stuff that you have to do to build it. Right.
Yeah.
So this year I committed to, like, I used to take off Fridays. I don't do that anymore. Right. I actually added hours to the front and back of my day. I start about 3 hours earlier now. Right.
Mhm.
And I go about an hour later. So and I added a day. Right.
Mhm.
So I am really adding, but I could easily double my time.
Mhm.
And I actually love what I do, so it doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
But because I'm really committed this year to grow what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times spiritual entrepreneurs are sitting in that space of, let me just attract, and it's flow and it's this. That's good,
Mhm.
but there's got to be action steps to it. So it's
Mhm.
really dovetailing. There's still a structure to business. There's
Mhm.
still like, are you making more money than you're spending? There's still things that you have to do. That's just good business.
There's
You
got
know,
to be at least a focus intention for your strategy for your business, that actually will work for you. If you're just like, I'm just opening up the source today, let's just see what wants to happen. Yeah, there's a small percentage of people that can work for, but it's really small.
yeah, but
Most
they're
people
actually
need to
working.
focus and structure. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They end up
yeah,
doing something,
they're
right?
doing something.
Okay, now you're spending more time in meditation and high vibe. You're still doing something. So, like,
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I mean,
even yeah.
yeah. So that part is still like, I do spiritual work too, and I
Yeah.
have to figure out where it shows up. Like, I do 2 hours of learning every single day. That is a
Hmm.
lot, right? I used to sit and read a book. Now I do Audible, right? So as I'm doing my dishes or doing my makeup in the
Right.
morning or getting out of the shower, that's where I'm getting in my 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
But I had to
Similar.
shift that, but I
Yeah.
still learn 2 hours every day,
Yeah.
right? But I still have also things like, on a Sunday, I will never open a computer. I don't
Hmm.
check things. I don't look at
Yeah.
things. I do not open a computer on a Sunday because I want to make sure I have a day of rest.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So those are boundaries I put around myself. I don't answer people's texts and emails and stuff at night. Like, I don't do any of that. Right. So
Hmm.
I have to put boundaries around myself so I can be strong in the hours that I work.
Right.
Right? But I also allow myself, I travel every month too. Right. So I also allow myself a good other life, but it's a balance, right? I put a lot forward. And I had to shift my own energy to be able to attract so much to me.
Putting your full force into what the life you want, whatever it is you want, right? You got to full force. That's what I'm just doing,
Yeah.
period. To
Yeah.
decide. A lot of times we don't decide, and we're like, I can't seem to pull it off. Well, you didn't really decide to do it. You didn't put your full force into it. That's why it's
Right.
not, happening at all, or not working, like
Yeah.
work once you put your full. So that's what I'm hearing you're
It's a
doing.
choice. It's a
Yeah, you
choice, right?
got to
And
do
I
it.
chose to stay small for a long time, and I didn't know it at the time, but I look
Mhm,
back now and I was like, wow, I literally just consciously made the choice to go big, right?
mhm,
And then I put the money behind it, but
right.
it's still, it had to show actionable all around. I had to make that choice,
Mhm,
and now I'm seeing the momentum, but I'm
mhm,
doing a lot of action behind it.
mhm, right. Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today. I mean, I love one person I was listening to, getting some training from, said, our recommendation, maybe you know these people, but I won't mention who they are, but they say, our recommendation is you take 1 week off every month. And, then, the rest of the month, yeah, you can be in full action, but then it's like this big reward at the end of the month. Oh, I get a whole week off. And I think that's awesome. I mean, I kind of like it. I don't like it enough to do that exactly that way, but we all got to weigh what delights you, what's exactly the way you'd like to create it, because you can. And
Yeah.
so that's what I love about what you're pointing to with everything you're saying there today. So anyway, well, as we're beginning to start wrapping up a little bit, I'd love for you to share with people how they can learn more about all this stuff. It's kind of mysterious still, even though I got some pieces of what you guys do, but where can they learn more about that? And then I think you had a free gift for everybody too, so potentially.
Yeah. So they can learn everything at soulprofessional.com. And we have lots of free things to see if you can even, if this is your group or not. We do not do hard sales. You either belong or you don't belong, and that's okay with us. But we do have a free level of memberships that gives you networking and gives you free masterclasses every single month. There's tons of free stuff to do. And that's at soulprofessional.com. If they want to learn deeper about the levels of paid membership, they can come to a meet and greet. I literally show up, I go over, I ask them about their business. And if anyone is out there trying to figure out their next steps or a strategy, I love the strategy work. They can set up a call with me. They can go to soulprofessional.com/strategy. And they can fill out a form, and it goes to me, and I will find a time to sit down and talk with them about what they're trying to create in the world.
How exciting is that with somebody who's a master strategist? Very obviously. I mean, I don't, not just from what she says she does, but like I can just tell you again, what she did outline more of the business to me, and I was just like, this is just, I can just feel how brilliant and strong the plan is. And so that you guys, you're thinking about it at all, just jump on that one. I mean, seeing as she doesn't even, she's not gonna to sign up a bunch of clients, which it sounds like there's more a heart of service where she wants to really support you. And, if you end up wanting to join her organization or perhaps maybe do some one-to-one work with her, that she's open to that. But I think like that's a real gift that she's giving you there. So definitely take advantage. I will put it in the show notes too, soulprofessional.com/, right? Strategy. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So we're at the point of the show where I do a couple of downloads for my guests. Are you ready to receive
Yeah, that's
today?
exciting.
Okay, cool. All right, let's see what comes through. So, all right. Everybody join us. Remember, it might be something in these downloads for you, so make sure you tune in even more now. All right. Okay, let's see. So there is showing me like the whole globe and like how there's this sense of really bringing peace and balance and wellness, infusing that throughout the planet. So it feels very emotional, like to all the groups, everybody's like everybody needs that justice, so to speak, divine justice, whatever justice you want to call it, but that sense of wellness, justice. So yeah, and it just feels like it's you can really sense the opportunity for that. And it's really, I know we all have concerns and fears and doubts and we get split mind, but you have an ability to understand like that actually is held as a possibility for the planet. Like this, it's at least a possibility. Maybe we'll never get there with all the way the split mind is here on the planet, but you see the possibilities and there's always more potential. So this is a beautiful, beautiful thing that they're showing me here. Okay, let's see what else is coming through. Okay, so now they're showing like the desire to be sometimes like there's this sort of this desire maybe to just be in this energy of being the ordinary person, like because you don't want it to be like, I know it literally isn't about you with the organization ultimately, but like I'm also getting at a fundamental level within yourself, you're like, it's very clear that you're just like this whole thing, not even just this organization, this whole thing just isn't about me. I don't want people to think like I'm the star, therefore I'm separate from you and all that. So that's what's coming through. Like, don't put me on any damn pedestal, okay? Get to work, you can have whatever you want, right? So I get that, like, and then and there's a soul desire for it to become much easier, much more chillax, like that's word that one of my students actually came up with before. So yeah, this chillax kind of thing, like, yep, just take care of it. Hey, so just we can chill out, do whatever we want, then it's always get back to work. But there's this chillax kind of energy in it. It's really, really cool, like a carefree state they're able to be in more so than like, oh my God, we got shit to take care of. Like, okay, so just notice that. Yeah, I feel like you're part of like an oversoul group for the planet. It's like, so yeah, you're meeting those people, of course, through this organization that are connected to this oversoul energy. And it's like a collective energy that's like, okay, we've already coordinated some plans here. Let's get them put together. And so as I connect with your overall energy with that and your third eye energy references this oversoul energy. It's like, okay, what's next? And it's more practical. It's not so yeah, the sense of like, wow, these people have these deep, crazy, mystical experiences. Sometimes you're like, what? I don't know. I don't, right? But so because you're oriented towards the practical solutions on the planet. And so it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. And yet you're connected enough with some of that whatever higher dimensional woo energy in that kind of way, because you're still very higher dimensional in your own way, that you can connect and relate and you go there to a degree, with people at least. So that's, and yeah, so it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, there's just some things I'm just poking around a little bit, just looking at your energy and just the things that wanted to be shared today. So any quick reflections or questions about anything that came through?
No, but I appreciate it. I love the word oversoul. I wrote that down. I was like, I love that. That's going on my vision board.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. I just like
right.
the idea of it, but I definitely well, one, I feel very connected to the world and all of that. Always have, like since I was a child, very connected, but I know that I have a logical gift of being able to connect it all.
Right. That's great. It's great. All right, everybody. So I just wanted to let you know again, you can check me out at yoursacredpurpose.com. I do have the Rock Your Sacred Purpose Energy Scan Consultation, where I tune in not just overall in general, but also specifically around your business and what's wanting to happen. Look through your chakras and whatever, whatever's coming through as I channel and tune into you. and magic can happen from that space. That's how I do it. I tune in, and I happen to have a lot of background and all this sort of stuff as well. Practical mind could kick in there. But yeah, I want to help you create what it is that you want as soon as possible, and you'll start to get that overview right away on what needs attention, and literally walk away with value. Like, oh, I really have, this actually changed me. This really helps. And of course, there's always the opportunity for more if you're a good fit. So I always say, don't do it. And you do have to invest in that particular consultation. Only do it if you're ready to rock, okay? Because that's the people I want to meet with. Okay, and then the other thing for all of you, you can go ahead and take advantage of my Meditate and Make Money meditation. Opens you up, gets you connected on an energetic level with the abundance that was talked about earlier, right? Like one of my early teachers said, always do everything from abundance. Do not be working with from lack, right? So we get you connected with abundance and energy of money, and have inquiry with your guidance, and open your chakras and let the energy drop in. So let it be simple, let it be easy, let it be fun. Meditate and Make Money with Daniel John Hanneman. Okay, go to yoursacredpurpose.com. I'm telling you, it works. People that listen to it consistently always see more abundance and more money. Okay, so Camille, it's been great to have you on the show. And I always let the guests have the last official word usually, although sometimes they say something, I gotta throw something on top of that because that's so awesome. I got something to say on it, but not always. So what are your last words? Yeah.
Let's all go change the world. Right.
All right.
And thank you so much for having me as a guest. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Yes, I like that. Let's shift the consciousness. Let's change the world in that regard. Absolutely. All right, so everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you, Camille, for being a guest. Today, I am super grateful. I'm just so deeply touched and grateful for you and your soul coming here with this intent and purpose of what you're doing in the world. And I know there's always more too, like you've got other purposes, other things that are going to merge. And I'm just so grateful for everything you stand for. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you again for everyone tuning in. Like I always say, keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here. Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time, everyone.
Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.